So, Coach, how was practice after several days?
After the break, I thought it was okay. I think guys were, sometimes it's good to get back out there and after all the studying and all the stuff that's going on and just kind of run around for a little bit. So I think we got some things done.
How long does it take typically to find out about grades with guys and that kind of thing?
Most of the guys will know after the finals, kind of. You might not know exactly your letter grade. It won't come in probably till after the bowl game, but you kind of know going in and out of the class kind of where you are.
Are you fairly comfortable with kind of how things are looking?
As comfortable as you can be. I mean,
it's a tough school.
It's a tough place. So
yeah.
You just don't.
I don't know if you've seen the story at the Wake Forest. Apparently, their radio analyst was involved in a scandal where he was providing information for other teams as a former player as well. I know you guys get accused of being paranoid sometimes, but I guess stuff like this is why people want closed practices and those kind of things. And
I've been kind of suspecting Andy for a while.
Big North Carolina fan.
We're going to pull his phone records.
It's a good thing you're not playing Syracuse.
Yeah.
But I guess that sort of like lends why it takes is one person acting crazy, and that's why a lot of people like to close things.
I think anybody who's been in coaching for any amount of time has been skunked before somewhere. I mean, I know we got it at a bowl game in Texas when I was at Navy. I mean, we had a couple of plays that we hadn't run all year, and when we lined up, they went and started checking to them, and so I'm sure some of the high school coaches there got us.
Like you had open practice down in.
We let the high school coaches
right.
come, yeah.
Oh.
So it's, that's why you have to be careful with all that stuff. Well, in fact, our last game, didn't the guy from Georgia say they knew that the throwback was coming? That's
yeah.
pretty good since we hadn't run it all year.
Yeah. In terms of, I guess, the Army-Navy game last week, mixed emotions probably for you because you started the streak against them, and
yeah,
Jeff snaps it.
It's I've got guys on both staffs and both teams. I really think that it was going to happen eventually. I mean, it's probably good for the rivalry. I was happy for Jeff, and I know that Kenny and those guys are probably disappointed, but if you play long enough, it's going to happen.
Brian's leaving to go to Georgia Southern to be the offensive coordinator. I imagine it pleases you to see. It sucks losing somebody, but it probably pleases you to see your guys
getting chances. I think it's a good opportunity for him. He thought about it a year ago, and they didn't want to give him
what he wanted.
More, a 2-year contract or whatever. He didn't want to do it, so he didn't go. And this year they did. So. Hopefully he'll get in there and do a good job for him.
You always have guys in mind, I imagine, for situations like this.
I do.
Yeah.
How will that process go as far as
it's probably already gone in my mind. We just haven't done it officially. Brian's going to coach through the bowl game, so there's no rush. But I know I'm on hire.
How many people, like legitimate people that you consider hiring, got in touch with you or push candidates?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's several people got in touch with me, but I only considered hiring one guy. I mean, I knew what I was going to do.
In terms of bowl practice, health-wise, are you guys okay right now?
Yeah, right now we are. We're as good as we've been.
Coach, how much film have you been able to watch on Kentucky yet, and what stands out about them?
I've watched a good bit. I think that once their quarterback got hurt early in the year, the job they've done to adapt to their personnel, they're a much, much better team now than they were early in the year. And I think a lot of it is driven by them adjusting, and they're doing a lot of wildcat stuff. Their running backs are probably 2 of their better players. That's helped them because they've been able to run the ball, and I think that helps them on defense too. They're not out there as much. And, they've got some young guys on defense, a couple of linebackers that are good players. And so they're very formidable. It's like I said, you watch the tape, they could have won a couple more games. They definitely had every opportunity to beat Georgia, and we know how talented they are. So, I mean, it'll be a challenge.
Do you get something out of watching them play common opponents, play Vanderbilt and Georgia?
I get something out of watching all of them, but the common opponent thing I don't think means a whole lot. You just kind of watch and try to get their base stuff and how you think they would adjust to your stuff, and then you go from there.
And that's because different things happen in different times of the year.
Sure, I mean, we're not the
Yeah.
same team we were early in the year either.
Paul, is there any, maybe lag or enthusiasm drop off the time the season ends and trying to get everybody back up for this bowl?
Well, you hope not. I mean, we wouldn't know right now. I mean, the practice is kind of
Wake up.
an effort, but, you know, we kind of had a goal. We adopted kind of midway through the year to try to get to 9. And it's like I told them the day after practice, we're this close. Now's not the time to relax. Now's the time to hit the accelerator.
How many times will you practice next week?
We'll let them go home after practice on the 21st. So I mean, that is, what's the 21st, Wednesday? Tuesday? I don't know. Just days. 21st is when?
We're going to practice 8 out of the next 9 days.
Yeah.
Is there any, how do you handle it, trying to get some reps for guys for next year, including the bowl?
We just try to get some of the younger guys ready for spring practice. So we'll take 2 periods at the end of every practice and work with the scouts. But we're, you know, most of our focus is on Kentucky.
Has Xavier been the tailback on the scout team mostly, or is
Who?
Xavier Gant?
No, it's been all kinds of people. I mean, it's different guys. He's played some, but it's different guys.
How has he done? Just, I mean, sorry.
He's done well. I mean, you know, we don't. He's running all other stuff. It's like you know, we don't play against each other. I know people think we do all year, but we really don't.
Is it a little bit weird you played a lot more freshmen this year than you typically have in terms of that aspect of it?
I think the freshmen were a little more players. And just, you know, by need, we've still got a pretty young team, but there were some of the freshmen were pretty good players, as evidenced by, you know, I saw where Parker's made several All-American teams now as a freshman. You know, he was one of our better players regardless of the class. So some of those guys, once Jay Hazel started playing, he played pretty good. You know, the same thing with other guys. They just kind of fit in. Diedrich and those guys just kind of had to play.
A couple more for Coach.
I imagine that recognition for Parker speaks well for people who try to recruit against you and say you can't do anything with your offensive line.
Right. Well, Shaq Mason was pretty good last night too. I caught a little bit. He was playing pretty good. It's, you know, all that's just a big misnomer anyway. If you're a good enough player, you'll go to the NFL. The system has nothing to do with it.
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
I imagine it'd be fun. You got to see an offensive lineman and wide receiver playing tight end that both played for you at positions where they're not supposed to be go to the league.
Right. Well, there's a lot of wide receivers from here in the